What is up, boys and girls? Monday night, May 4th, 2015. The one and only The Black Avenger, a.k.a. The Black Azrael, Lee Sanders here of the RCWR show covering WWE Raw Fallout. Thank those of you that's checking us out right now. Now, for those of you that might be looking for actual WWE Raw footage, you want to head on over to WWE Fan Nation right here on YouTube. And if you still can't find what you're looking for, head on over to WWE's website at WWE.com for photos, video, the works. Hey, I appreciate you guys taking the time out to welcome us wherever you're watching us right now, whether it be at work, home, wherever you are right now. Thank you so much for joining us for this next little bit as we're 2 weeks away from WWE Payback as Raw emulated tonight from Montreal, Canada. And man, how about the information that we had heard last week? We heard rumblings that this Monday night's Raw was supposed to be a Pat Patterson tribute. And some of you all may say, well, wait a minute, Lee, didn't we already do one of those things? Well, there was supposed to be something going down. What was it? A couple of years ago. But remember, Jerry Lawler, he had that unfortunate heart attack. So they basically just said, forget it. Let's just forget about that. So tonight, WWE kept hyping up this Roman Reigns 24/7 special that's on right now. Those of you that might be curious what I think about that special, I actually will be watching it as soon as we get off the air, and I'll give it a brief recap / review on our Tuesday night podcast over on Spreaker.com. You'll be able to catch that once again, 10 p.m. Eastern. But I don't know, maybe this is a case right here where maybe they're doing something exclusive for the fans there at that arena tonight with regards to Pat Patterson. I'm very curious to see what all is going to be going down now that Raw has gone off the air on the USA Network. A little bit later on in the show, we have a really cool contest that we're going to be doing. We need a lot of you guys to enter it if you really want this. I got to tell you right now, if you're a Daniel Bryan fan, it doesn't get any better than this. I have in my possession an advanced copy of Daniel Bryan's Yes book. You can see the advanced copy symbol right there. And the beautiful thing about this book is not supposed to come out until July, but I can't take all the credit. The beautiful and the lovely Tammy, she worked her charm and she was able to get us a couple of copies of these, mainly one for me to read, but we have a extra copy that can be given away to one of you, our lucky listeners. So we'll tell you the details about that in the later part of the show. So make sure you stick around for that. I have been reading it. It's a fantastic read, man. Definitely a fantastic read. All right, so let's dive into tonight's WWE Raw, where, overall, I just got to say, the energy that was really coming from the Montreal crowd tonight, it really kept me into the whole 3 hours for the most part. All the matches, it just kind of seemed as if all the WWE superstars, the divas, it just seems like they really went out here tonight and really tried to put on an entertaining show, and it was just working hand in hand with the crowd that was there in attendance. And I actually had enjoyed some of the nice, fresh matchups and twists that we had got from tonight's episode. Again, 2 weeks away from the Payback pay-per-view. I loved the strong opener as things had kicked off with Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. Bear in mind that these two men, they had teamed up a couple of weeks ago, worked very well together, but that revelation that it would be the both of them taking on Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the main event at Payback. So now you come to this episode tonight, and we have Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. They're at a little bit of a stalemate. They basically want to try to outwit the other one. They want to try to outsmart the other one. They basically, when they're talking to each other, it's pretty much, I'm the bigger dog, I'm better than you. You go to Randy's standpoint, Randy's whole deal is, hey, kid, and that's exactly how he referred to Roman Reigns. Hey, kid, How many championships have you won since you've been in the company? That's right, 0. Now, some of you may be like, but Lee, Roman Reigns was a tag team champion. Well, Randy Orton is talking more specifically about how many times has Roman Reigns been a heavyweight champion. And unfortunately, Randy does have him beat right there at 0. But Roman Reigns, he basically takes what Randy is saying and turns that into a positive and basically says, look, if I have to go through you to become the world heavyweight champion, I'll do that. And about this whole, me never being champion and all that, do I need to remind you, bro? I beat you at SummerSlam last year. Come on now. So you kind of got both of these guys jockeying, trying to outdo one another. And from there, of all the people to interrupt these guys talking, we saw New Day. Yeah, I know. That's a little bit of a twist right there, isn't it? Yes, New Day actually came out, and they basically had informed the duo that they have a handicap match that was happening right there on the spot per Director of Operations Kane. So we actually saw a 3-on-2 handicap match, of which New Day was able to pick up the victory. And of all the people to pick up the win, you just got to home in on who it was that was doing the pinning for New Day. It was Kofi Kingston pinning Randy Orton. And it was so funny because, we follow so many people throughout social media, and shout out to those of you that we were interacting with throughout the course of the night. There were many of you that was very quick to point out how a couple of years back, there was the whole Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton feud, and Kofi, he was like so freaking good at that point as a babyface, how he had destroyed Randy Orton's sports NASCAR that he had got. And some of you were jokingly saying, I guess Randy Orton maybe hasn't forgotten about that. Probably Kofi hasn't either. So you all just kept going back and forth on that one. I enjoyed seeing the pictures and all that had came about. But that was like a fresh matchup right there. It was just so random. It reminded me almost of when the Spirit Squad were taking turns beating the crap out of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and then eventually, finally, after a couple of years, we saw DX reform to unite to kick the living crap out of the Spirit Squad's ass. And that's just how tonight it had reminded me of. It was fresh. I enjoyed it. I didn't think New Day was going to be able to hold on to themselves as they were taking on these guys. But I mean, they proved to me that look. I don't know, man. They're starting to kind of wear on me a little bit. It's like fungus, It's like, you keep getting this one flavor and you don't like it. It tastes too sweet at first. Maybe you don't like the color of the drink, but after you had it a few times, it's kind of like, hey, this is so bad. And I don't know, I'm kind of starting to grow a little bit fond of New Day. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but that's just how I feel with regards to that. Kane, he had solved that. Now, let's back up a second. One of the main reasons why New Day was able to pick is because of a miscommunication between Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, as at one point we actually saw Randy Orton get distracted by one of the New Day members, and this would basically set up Roman Reigns to accidentally spear Randy Orton, and then Kofi Kingston would come up from behind, push Roman Reigns. Big E Langston was outside the ring, and he would actually pull Roman Reigns out, and that's how Kofi Kingston was able to pick up the victory. We saw a very heated, tense moment between Randy Orton and Roman Reigns afterwards. Looks like these two guys were getting ready to tear each other apart. Director of Operations Kane came out and said to them, I want to capitalize on this energy that I'm picking up between you two guys. Main event match later tonight. You two guys, you'll have at it. So you're kind of saying to yourself when you hear that, wow, Kane is really kind of coming around, right? Not necessarily. You see Seth Rollins later on in the night. He's complaining as usual. I tell you, a couple of weeks back, we said that Seth Rollins is the new opportunist. He's the new rated R superstar Edge. But there's some things that Seth Rollins and Edge share great similarities in, and then there are things that Edge just outshines Seth Rollins in. And the way Seth Rollins is being booked right now, I have a little bit of concern, because when it's all said and done, I can't recall the last time I've ever seen a champion that is afraid to fight his own battles. I got to put you guys on the spot. Give me some names out there. Just thinking about how Seth Rollins' current run as champion is right now. I mean, he is hiding behind any and everything. And I mean, I love the whole, he's the guy you just want to hate, you can't stand, but he still hasn't rattled my feathers in the way where I want to see him get what's coming to him. I want to see him get his butt whooped. I'm not picking that vibe up. Now, some people may jump out there and say, Lee, well, what about Triple H? Triple H, he kind of, back in his heyday, he kind of operated somewhat similar to Rollins. I can agree with that to a certain extent. That's the big difference between Triple H and Seth Rollins. Back in the day, you knew that Triple H had the in-ring ability. You knew what his character was about. You knew that he was going to do any and everything. And for the most part, say what you will, he really was not hiding behind other people. He was doing foul and messed up crap, taking sledgehammers, doing low blows and, cheating. He was doing whatever. But man, you can make the argument that he did have China helping him out at one point. You could also make the argument that Stephanie McMahon was kind of helping him out in some of his matches. You can kind of make the argument that when he was paired up with Ric Flair did kind of help him a little bit. You can kind of make the argument that Evolution members, Randy Orton, Dave Bautista, that kind of helped him a little bit. But when it counted the most, Triple H, he delivered. He wasn't always tucking his tail between his legs, hiding behind somebody. I don't know, for me. And that's the thing also with Triple H. Triple H was one of those guys you wanted to pay that $30, $40 back in the day to see him get his ass beat. You wanted to see somebody take the title off of him. And the way it's operating right now with Seth Rollins, I don't know, for me, I don't know. Something about his championship run is just kind of rubbing me the wrong way. I'm happy he's getting the opportunity that he's getting. I love him as a performer, and I want to make sure we stress that. I have no problem with his in-ring ability, but there is just something that is just missing from him. And I don't know, I said this several weeks back, couple of weeks ago, that the way he's being set up right now, he's being set up like Edge, but my God, Edge was 10 times better than what Seth Rollins is currently doing right now. But to kind of go back on what we were talking about on our WrestleMania post show many weeks back, I said to you guys, look, the position that Roman Reigns is going to be in, and those of you that's been watching this that long, you can definitely back me up on this. I said, with the position that Roman Reigns is in, it makes all the sense in the world for him to chase after Seth Rollins and that heavyweight championship belt. Could it maybe culminate in a SummerSlam match? We'll just have to wait and see, because otherwise it could be Brock Lesnar that could be in there, and it could very well be Brock Lesnar taking on Seth Rollins. I mean, you never know. You kind of have to expect the unexpected. But I just can't help but wonder how much longer Seth Rollins, the experiment of him being champion, is going to last. Because quite honestly, if I'm just looking ahead to SummerSlam, the way it's looking right now, it doesn't look like John Cena is going to be coughing up that United States title anytime soon. I'm not really picking up the vibe that he's going to be heavyweight champion again this calendar year, at least. if I were to give a bold prediction, I think if not before, then by SummerSlam, it could very well be possible that Roman Reigns be the world heavyweight champion. And it can be a situation where Roman Reigns, the champion, takes on Brock Lesnar for the world heavyweight title. Let me know what you guys think with regards to that, or if maybe you see the SummerSlam main event match going in a different way. But we were talking about Seth Rollins. Kane set up something very interesting for Seth Rollins. He didn't like the fact that he kind of maneuvered and wiggled his way out of a match against Dean Ambrose last week. As a result of that, we had a rematch, if you will, where J&J Security were banned from ringside, and also huge stipulation put on this match between Rollins and Ambrose, which is if Dean Ambrose won, then he would put into the triple threat match, which would then turn into a fatal four-way. To that main event match we go. We did see J&J Security interfere. Why the referee did not throw the match out automatically, I have the slightest clue. I was a little bit perplexed with regards to that as the match continued on. I believe Dean Ambrose picked up the victory, schoolboy pin. So the main event match, it's changed drastically. Seth Rollins defends now against Ambrose and Roman Reigns and Randy Orton. So that is your fatal four-way now. Kind of makes you wonder if Seth walk away from this unscathed, still the champion. I'll talk more about predictions next week. Next up, we had this was actually a very good segment I enjoyed the most from Raw tonight. A very passionate Ryback, really giving you more of the Ryback character, or actually, no, when I really think about it, the man behind the Ryback character. And, the promo that he cut tonight, it just kind of really reminded me of the interview that he did with Chris Jericho several months back. And I tell you what, I guess there were certain people in WWE that was checking out that interview with Jericho on the podcast there, because whoever it was that was listening, they basically say, you know what, this guy can talk. We just need to put him in the right type of spotlight, put him in the right type of position. And you know what? He could probably connect with the fans even more. And I got to say, since I've been watching the Ryback character, that's the main thing I want to home in on, the Ryback character, because we've seen the actor before. We don't need to go over the other gimmicks that he had. You all that's been watching wrestling long enough, you know the gimmicks that he's had. But you home in on the Ryback character. And I got to say, of all the promos that Ryback has cut since he's come up the main roster as Ryback, this promo, I challenge anybody to try to find another promo that equals what he did tonight. This was hands down one of the best promos that he ever cut, and I like how he directed it towards Bray Wyatt, basically saying, you come at me with this negative energy, and I basically eat it up, and I still stand strong, and it was really a he cut. I'm hoping that those of you that maybe missed Raw tonight, I'm hoping that maybe you'll be able to find it on WWE Fan Nation, or maybe they'll have a highlight on the WWE website, because it's definitely worth checking out. And I tell you, ever since WrestleMania has come and gone, you're looking at key individuals, and it's kind of like, they're kind of getting a little bit of a push, if you will. Push is such a strong word, but I think the right word I'm looking for right now, it kind of seems like they're getting the opportunity. I think that's a better word. Certain people that you saw several months ago, and it looked like they were getting an opportunity to shine on main WWE programming. Seems like this second go round, they're getting the opportunity to represent again. And I got allergies here, folks. Bear with me a second. Ah, and I like what's going on with Ryback right now. I think about the Ryback that we had got like almost 2 years ago, and I said it last week and maybe the week before, and I can't stress it enough. I'm ecstatic that Ryback is getting this opportunity again by WWE Creative, because I genuinely feel in my heart of hearts. I mean, look at him, for Christ's sake. That Look, I know we got petty people out there. They're probably going to be like, he's on the roids, he's on the juice, he's doing this, he's doing that, and he can keep saying till he's blue in his face that what you see physically, it's all natural, and people will be like, BS. I know people that look like Ryback. I've known him for years. I know some of their most intimate secrets and all that good stuff. And one thing I can say, people I know that look like Ryback, they don't take juice, they don't take drugs, none of that. All right, and it's possible. I'm saying it's possible that you can do it naturally, but get a little off track. You look at Ryback and you just say to yourself, "Man, this guy, he's got the looks. He moves pretty damn well in the ring. I don't care what anybody says. He's come a long way from what we saw of him when he was in NXT as that other character, compared to what we have in front of us now. He puts on really solid, entertaining matches. I actually, before Roman Reigns started to get better inside the ring, just to do a comparison, I actually preferred Ryback's matches over Roman Reigns. That says a lot right there. But now, if you want to compare the two, Roman Reigns is coming into his own, but Ryback is still beating him just by a hand, just by an arm's length, if you will. But you look at a guy like Ryback, and you're saying to yourself, well, why isn't this guy like a multi-time champion already? Why isn't this guy, you know, being given the keys to the kingdom? What's going on right here? Well, I mean, he keeps up the way he's keeping up, and I tell you, the sky's the limit for this man. And I love what's going on between him and Bray Wyatt. I was curious when we first saw Bray Wyatt attack Ryback. I'm kind of saying to myself, and I explained this on our podcast last week. I said, it kind of sucks that we now have Bray Wyatt and Ryback, but I'm happy for Ryback because this is giving him a marquee spot on main programming, and definitely it gives him a great spot, I would think, on pay-per-view cards. So I don't know about you guys, but the promos that went down tonight between these two men makes me even more ecstatic to see this match that's going to go down between these two. I think they're going to give us something that I won't say it'll be a 5-star match, but I definitely feel it's going to be a very entertaining match, to say the least. We had saw NXT represent tonight. We saw the Ascension. Haven't seen them in the past couple of weeks. We saw them be defeated by Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. Meanwhile, John Cena open challenge. We would see the challenge be accepted by Bret Hitman Hart, if you will. Always great to see Bret Hart. Looks pretty damn good. He introduced Cena's opponent right from Canada, NXT former champion Sami Zayn. And damn, is what I have to say off the break. Fantastic match between these two young men. Sami Zayn, man, he was able to hang with John Cena. I was in love. I was in love. So much so, even though I had raw recording on my DVR, I actually ended up watching that match again. That's how damn good I enjoyed the match. One thing that I thought was very interesting as I was interacting with some of you guys, I had saw a tweet that just really kind of jumped out there at me. And this one tweet, it had to do with somebody basically saying Sami Zayn's going to get buried in his debut match. What the hell? You just wait, watch and see. And then when Sami Zayn lost to Cena, now look, I'll jump out there. I've been saying this for weeks now. It doesn't make sense to me that you have John Cena do these open US challenges, right? I mean, that sounds like a golf tournament. Let's put US title, but then it's still going to sound like a damn golf tournament. But you get it. You know, you got him defending the championship, the United States championship, pretty much anytime, anywhere, and all that. And the commentators, I need to hear a lot more from these guys as far as them selling the points that what John Cena is doing is very risque, that he could lose the championship at any time unexpectedly because he doesn't know what opponent is going to come from behind the curtain. He doesn't have time to prepare. He's just going to have to do what he can right there on the spot. And then also hype up the fact of, well, you know, if he loses, and that's the main thing, ever since you kept hearing about these Cena Rusev matches, you're like, okay, so if John Cena loses, what does this mean for Rusev? Does he still get his rematch? I don't know. I don't know, guys. But this one right here, I kind of wish that they really would have sold that. I will give the commentators, a lot of credit. They did a good job in putting over Sami Zayn. Not that it was needed, because Sami Zayn was able to go in there and he was able to hang on his own. Great matchup right there. As far as Sami Zayn being buried, that was the tweet that I saw. Somebody basically saying, you know, see, Sami Zayn, he lost in his debut. Something else that JBO had said, hey, you know, great debut for Sami Zayn. And that kind of made people cry foul, saying, hey, this isn't Sami Zayn's debut. What the hell are you talking about? Yes and no. Here's a little fun trivia for you guys. Basically, Sami Zayn made his main roster WWE debut on Raw going back September 8th, I believe, 2014, where he had teamed up with Adrian Neville, and they defeated the team of Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd, right? That was a tag team match. If you want to get technical, what he did tonight was his Raw singles debut match, thus his main WWE programming singles debut. So, you know, two different ways that you can kind of look at it right there if you want to get technical. But I really wish they would kind of, you know, they got to do something when it comes to these Cena US Open challenges. They got to really hype up the whole element of surprise and, you know, all that good stuff, I feel. I mean, to each its own. Rusev, we were just talking about him. He did defeat Fandango squash match via submission. Let's take a pause right there. We're almost done, but let's take a pause right there. All right, so we mentioned it earlier in case you guys missed it. We got a really cool prize giveaway that we're doing for you all. And I was not going to pull the trigger on this prize giveaway unless I knew for certain that we could do this. And most importantly, we can ship it in a timely manner. Shout out to those that had won our last contest, as we had gave away copies of Shawn Michaels' Wrestling for My Life book contest. We had a couple of problems over here financially. As a result, we weren't able to ship out the books in a timely manner. And love our fans. That's all I got to say. Love our fans. They totally understood. A lot of patience. But happy to say with this contest, we'll be able to ship these books out ASAP. Proudly am very proud to say that. So once again, in case you missed it, we are giving away an advanced copy of Daniel Bryan's new book. Yes. And the cool thing about this book will not be available until July. So how about that? You could be the first person in your community or one of the first people among your wrestling friends to have Daniel Bryan's new book. You can boost about it, you know, and talk about it and talk about what you liked or maybe didn't like or whatever. Nice bragging rights, right? Right. So we're going to be giving away one copy. And the way that we're going to be doing this is I was thinking about it and was getting some input from Tammy. And the way that we're going to basically do this, you have 2 weeks until our payback post show, which will be live here on YouTube. That'll be at 10:50 p.m. Eastern on Sunday night, May 17th, it looks like. We'll have that post show for you guys. So very simple. All you have to do between now and then, we'll say the cutoff time for Sunday, May 17th, we'll say you have until 9 p.m. Now, I'll do one better than that. I'll give you guys until 10 p.m. May 17th to enter the contest. All right. Now, if you won our last contest where we gave away Shawn Michaels' book, unfortunately, you're not eligible to enter this contest. So let's get that out the way first. Because, I mean, come on, let's be for real. It doesn't make sense if you won one contest already, just like, a couple of months ago, and that doesn't make sense. We want to try to give everybody the opportunity to enter. All you have to do to enter our contest is look us up on Stitcher, and all these links that you need is in the episode description. Look us up on Stitcher, leave us a rating and a review. It's free. It only takes a couple of seconds. Definitely helps if you link it up to your email and all that. That way Stitcher knows that, hey, this is legit. It helps. If you want to double your chances, if you have iTunes, I said that right? Yeah, iTunes. Yeah, I don't know, my mind's kind of if you have iTunes, you want to try to double your chances of winning. I would recommend you do a rating and review on Stitcher and on iTunes. Let us know that way. And I got to make sure we put our email down below as well, because after you leave the rating and review, all you have to do is send us an email afterwards. Let us know your username that you use to leave the rating and review. Also your shipping address. That way, if it's your name that we announce on the post show, we already have your information ready to go. We just need to email you, let you know, boom, it's shipped, so you can be on the lookout for it. That's how we'll do that. So to recap, let's just make sure we recap that one more time for you guys, all right? Because I know that's a lot of information. And if you have any questions, just post down below or find us throughout social media. But to recap, if you want to enter this contest, you leave a rating and a review on Stitcher. If you want to double your chances, get 2 entries into the contest, leave the rating and review on Stitcher and on iTunes. And then from there, send us an email, infinity1productions@gmail.com. That's infinity with an E, put in the actual number 1, infinity1productions@gmail.com. Let us know the username that you use to leave the rating review, also your shipping info, and then just kick on back. Join us on that payback post show, May 17th, 10:50 p.m. Eastern, to find out if it's your name that we'll be announcing. So good luck to you on that note. Good book, man. Really good book. And let's continue on. So there was only a couple of more items that I thought was interesting as far as Raw tonight. We saw Tamina Snuka. She came back. Bella Twins were getting ready to have a match when we saw both of them get attacked by Tamina Snuka. She's been out on injury, and I didn't think she was going to be coming back, man. I was a little bit concerned about her. I thought maybe at one point she was going to get future endeavored or whatever, but she's back. I miss her. I must say, right when she was starting to get a little bit good there, because I think the last time we saw her, damn, I can't believe it's been that long, but I think one of the last times we saw her, she was the bodyguard, if I'm not mistaken, of AJ Lee, and there were like seeds being planted in there of Tamina Snuka turning on AJ. And as a matter of fact, I do remember Tamina attacking AJ because something weird had happened that AJ didn't like, and she got physical with Tamina, and Tamina bit right back at her, and her bite was hard. And a couple of weeks after that, it's like we saw her disappear or whatever. But Tamina Snuka was teaming up with Naomi. Naomi pushing a new look. She got like I'm just gonna call her Da Brat. You guys remember the rapper Da Brat? She kind of had that whole look going on with the braids and all that. I'm liking the combination right there. And I don't know what WWE is trying to do right here. I'm kind of getting the impression right here that the Bella Twins are like so popular with the Total Divas, and now you got them saying we deserve our own show, as if a 3-hour block of programming isn't enough, and then you basically have 1 hour of Total Divas isn't enough. Now they want another hour, where they just are doing their own thing, whatever. But you got them in this position where, they're getting the great TV time with the Total Divas, and, they're all over the place to the point that, I don't know, I guess WWE is kind of saying to themselves, well, maybe it's kind of time we kind of flip the script a little bit. Maybe we can kind of go back to making them be baby faces and, have the crowds, root them on. And then I don't know. I don't know if that's what they're considering, but I tell you what, I've been a big fan, a big supporter of Naomi for many years now. Before she actually came into the WWE, I remember seeing a few of her matches on the independent circuit, and to the point that honestly, I think if anybody deserves to be a Divas champion right about now, it's definitely her. If I were to give a bold prediction, I think we might have a new Divas champion coming up at the Payback pay-per-view. Just my whole thoughts on that right there. Honorable mention, Neville, Ziggler. They took on the team of Barrett and Sheamus. I actually got a little bit distracted with regards to that match. I need help from you guys to let me know who it was that had won that match. It was a little bit hard for me to get into that one. I was so distracted with a couple of things, but from the little bit that I saw, I mean, the match looked okay. I would have preferred to see Neville in singles action, but I mean, hey, it's kind of nice to switch it up, right? But guys that saw that particular match, helped the rest of the community out and let folks know what you had thought about that tag match overall, if it's definitely worth it for folks to try to see if they can find it online. Other than that, I mean, we pretty much covered the main gist of what came about with tonight's WWE Raw. I mean, to recap, Montreal, Canada, great crowd reactions. The energy was on point. It really kept you into the entire 3 hours. I think the matches were rather decent. I actually enjoyed, from the matches that I was able to see, I actually enjoyed it. Good way to kick off the month of May. Very curious to see what they're going to be able to do next week going forward, because when you look back in the month of April, I think it's safe to say there was probably only maybe one episode that was really like, this is better. I mean, it was above average, but the rest of the Raws for the month of April, it was kind of like, so really there's probably only one that you could look back on from last month and say that was okay. This month they're kicking off to a good start. I feel Raw gets a pass this week. You guys, it's your time now. My favorite part of the show, we get to you all's comments. So let's pull it up here. And as I'm pulling up your comments, Tuesday night means only one thing. It's our live podcast / radio edition of the RCWR show, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. Join me, your host, Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders. We'll cover the very latest in entertainment, wrestling headlines, and beyond. If it's got you talking, we're definitely going to be talking about it on there. I will be talking about Avengers Age of Ultron. I did see it. I actually did a written article slash review for it on our website. All the links you need is in the episode description here. Check it out just so you can get a little bit of a preview. But I'm going to try to see if we might be able to get Tammy in so that me and her can go back and forth on Avengers, because we have some stuff that did not make it in the written article review that we're saving for the show. It's a lot of laughs. You guys will enjoy it, but we'll talk about that. We're going to be going all over the place, man. I mean, it's a lot of ground that we're going to be covering on there, so make sure you join us on there. Yes, I got to give an honorable nod to Natalia. She was looking super califractic freaking expeditious, delicious, whatever the hell, she was looking like tonight. I will definitely give her that nod, wrestling fan. Yes, she did look very sexy tonight. Reading the comments on that note. DJ, what's up, man? When I think of Cena's open challenge, it reminds me of when Kurt Angle was doing the hometown hero thing. Cena's career started with that loss to Kurt. I kind of saw a repeat of that tonight with Sami Zayn. Therefore, I don't believe he was buried tonight after losing to John. Sami has a bright future ahead of him. I agree with you 100%. I still very vividly remember John Cena's debut on SmackDown against Kurt Angle, in which, like you pointed out, DJ, he lost. I remember that match vividly, like it was yesterday, and I remember saying to my friends, because we were all sitting together around the TV like we normally used to do with SmackDown back in the day, and we were watching it, and we were like, this John Cena kid, he may have lost, but yeah, he is definitely going to be a force to reckon with. He's off to a damn good start. We said the same thing about him. I said the same thing about Randy Orton. I said the same thing about Dave Bautista. I can't remember that far back if they lost in their debut matches. But I could definitely remember looking at those guys saying, these guys are going places. Cena, that match with Angle, even though he lost, I was like, as well as my friends, we were like, he's going places. We weren't tripping over that. Eagles fan, I wouldn't call the Rusev match a squash match. Fandango was fighting back quite a bit. I think they're finally going to do something with him. To each its own. Honestly, I would not be surprised at this point if Fandango had got his release in a couple of weeks. That's just me. I mean, for Christ's sake, I remember former RCWR show guest Brodus Clay. You all know him that watched the TNA product as Tyrus now. I remember the program that he was involved in. I mean, he was in the middle of a program, if I'm not mistaken, against Adrian Neville or whatever. And next thing you know, he got his walking papers. So, I mean, just because we're seeing some of these people like Fandango get all this camera time, it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, well, maybe they're getting ready to. Not necessarily. Retro Kaiser thinks that the only juice Ryback is taking is orange and apple juice. Good one, man. Moonwalker, what are your thoughts on Ryback beating Rusev clean at house shows over the weekend? I don't really care about the house shows. And I know that's like probably a messed up thing to say. There's a reason why I don't particularly cover house shows, not unless it's of great significance, of great importance. When I hear stuff like that with house shows, to me, the way WWE has been operating for many years now with a lot of their house shows, I get the vibe that they're trying out maybe different angles, different matchups. They're trying to see how maybe this person will work with this person, what needs to be cleaned up and all that. I mean, this is a well-known fact that we've heard about WWE. And, when I hear stuff like that, it's like, how am I supposed to feel? I don't feel excited. At the same time, I don't feel sad to hear that. I just feel indifferent to answer your question. Whatever is possibly going to come in the coming weeks, if what's happening at the house shows is going to be brought up to the main roster, then you know what? We'll just wait and see. Me personally, I don't really like hearing about house show results because if in fact what is happening at these house shows is going to leak over to television, I don't want to have an idea beforehand of what to expect. There's still that part of me, even though we live in a day and age, a digital age at that, where it's so easy to just like at the touch of a button find out what happened for like X amount of house shows that maybe WWE or Ring of Honor has done, or hey, NXT had taped 5 shows over the weekend. Here's the results for these shows, or TNA Wrestling, they did X amount of tapings for these shows, and here's the results for these. I like to be surprised. There is still that part of me that as a child in the 80s, growing up watching wrestling, there's still that part of me that wants to just kick back and just be entertained, not try to think ahead too much. Hope that answers your question. Let's see what else we got right here. Jock, what's up, Jock? Raw was a great show. I totally marked out when Bret Hart introduced Sami Zayn and Dean Ambrose. I can't say the rest of that is the main event of Payback. P.S. Lana can't fandango me any time of the day. There was that good little encounter between Lana and Fandango, wasn't there? Telling her to give in to her emotions or whatever the hell that was. And let's see what else we got right here. Yes, Dean Ambrose is the freaking man. What about Mizdow? Miz and Mizdow. As far as I know about the Miz, who answered or who asked that question? QW, because I don't know how to pronounce your first name. As far as Miz goes, they explained the Miz's exit on the WWE app. I think that was about maybe 2, almost 3 weeks ago. Basically, he's taken his talents to Hollywood. I believe I could be mistaken, but 90% of me is pretty confident the information is accurate. He is off filming another movie right now, so he's going to be on hiatus at least for the next several weeks or couple of months. As far as Damian Sandow goes, you saw, if you watched Raw last week, you saw what happened with him. And they actually have followed up on that on SmackDown. I actually remember watching a little bit of SmackDown from last week over the weekend, and Sandow had popped up again on there, if I'm not mistaken. So just because you didn't see him on Raw this week, hey, there is SmackDown, so you can definitely check him out. At least this way, you kind of have a little bit of what's the right word I'm looking for? Extra incentive, if you will, to try to check out SmackDown. You know, SmackDown should be most interesting next year. I can't wait for them to move to the USA Network, and then every single episode is going to be live at that. That should be very interesting. Let's refresh one more time and read some of you guys' comments here. Okay. Bear with me a second here, guys. I'm just trying to skim ahead a little bit. I think that's it, guys. Yeah. We're actually done. It looks like I went through all the comments, at least for now. If you guys are commenting, I don't see it right now. Quick heads up, because I'm still continuing to get emails about this. Folks want to know what's going on with Impact Showdown. The way it is right now, I'm not coming back as the host, at least right now. But I am toying with the idea of possibly coming back. I will definitely cover TNA pay-per-views. Right now, I'm trying to put the finishing touches on a show that we almost had CBS radio pick up, but they went on ahead and they took a pass because they had one too many shows in that respected genre. Yet they're signing people left and right in the same category. Now Booker T has a show. I don't get it. Anyway, so if anything, we're actually trying to put the finishing touches on that. I actually have the new show logo and all that. It's really cool. We're gonna start doing teasers for the new show in the coming weeks. But with that new show that's going to be thrown into rotation, which I can tell you right now, I think that show, if you're into heavy in the movies and stuff, I think you guys will really fuck with that show more so than you will with the podcast on Tuesday nights. That's just my honest opinion, but we're going to start doing some teasers and promotional stuff for it in the coming weeks. So I'm really focused on launching that right now. Impact Showdown is going to remain on hiatus until further notice. Hearing what's going on with Smashing Pumpkins' Billy Corgan, who I am a big fan of. I've heard nothing but great praise about him in the wrestling promotion that he was working out in Chicago for a little bit. I'm kicking back, very reserved to see what he's going to be able to do with TNA in this new position that he's going to be in. I can tell you that the past several weeks of TNA programming, it's tempted me greatly to get back in the covering TNA again. Who knows what's going to happen? I already said I'm not coming back, but the show is still on hiatus as I continue to get questions with regards to that. A couple of people reached out, said they like to try the whole co-hosting thing. I don't know. I'm trying to fill people out right now, get a good sense of their personality. Most importantly, get a sense of their style to even entertain that. But nothing serious is moving on my part with regards to talking to those people because I'm more focused on that new show that we're going to launch. Hopefully that answers some of you TNA fans' question about that. All right. So one show in the books. One more time. We got our live podcast. You can catch that 10 p.m. Eastern, Spreaker.com. Make sure you join us for that. That's going to be pretty freaking solid. And one more time, enter the book contest. If you miss any of the information and you're watching us live right now, cool thing I like about YouTube, when you're watching a stream live, you can actually hit the rewind button. Freaking awesome. So do that. And best of luck to you. Of course, we're here standing by. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure you give this a thumbs up. When you do, you're showing your love and appreciation for us YouTube video creators. You can share this also a number of ways by Facebooking it, Google Plusing it, retweeting it. One of the many ways you can spread the good word about our content. That's going to do it. Good night. Good morning. And until next go round, be safe and be kind to one another. May the good news be yours. Take care.